Good morning, guys. Check it out. I got my backpack on. Got my suitcase. Today's a big day. The whole family is going on a trip today. So we are getting ready to go. Everybody's getting packed up. We're loading up the van and we're gonna be driving on a road trip. Several days to a really cool place. And the reason we're going there is because we heard there might be treasure. With my head in the closet, my feet on the path, we'll go chasing the sun and we'll follow the map. When this world's got me feeling small, I'll be sure to tell my story whenever our adventure calls. When adventure calls, and when adventure calls. Trying to get up a couple of sleepyheads. She was up until 5 a.m. packing for this trip and getting things ready to go. And I'm gonna give you a clue about where we're going. It has to do with the beach. That's right, going to the beach, but which beach? Could be any beach. But I think there's gonna be some treasure there. So we're gonna go do some research, look for clues. It's gonna be a couple days for us to drive to this specific beach. So let me know in the comments below which beach you think we're going to. Let's go.
What do you think, Ryan?
They're great.
And we're off. And we're gonna be there in what, 6 hours or something? So we're literally gonna be on the road all day. It's gonna be exciting. This time the van is a little bit more full. We have my mom and my dad. And then we've got everybody else, Jessica, Ryan, and all the kids and me and Michael. We're gonna drive all day today and the next day and the next day and the next day.
We put the dog on the roof.
And the dog's on the roof.
He's up there lapping up the air.
Just kidding.
We have everything but the kitchen. Wait, did we get the kitchen sink?
We forgot the kitchen sink. Oh, he got it. Michael got
Oh, good job.
So it's a lot more full, but hopefully it will also be a lot more fun. Plus we got a lot of treats.
Yum.
That's like,
Hey, mine. No.
is that pretty much like Rice Krispie type stuff? Like you're trying to put Rice Krispie stuff on it?
And nuts and cornflakes and rice checks.
Wow, that sounds delicious. So anyway, oh snow! So we're gonna go see the countryside and have a good time today. It took us a while to get all packed, but we're ready to go. It's 66 where we're going right now, 66 degrees, so it's so exciting! It's gonna be so nice.
A lot of this you don't really see, but this is like behind the scenes of
We're
checking
doing
out different
research.
places.
We want to look up the history of places, and we want to go to museums, and we want to do research and figure out what kind of a history might have been left behind. We've heard legends and tales of certain things, and so we're hoping
you really have to do your research.
So we're hoping that we can find some really interesting things in places that we've heard of, and maybe it will lead us to a treasure hunt. We're hoping that it will. There's a hepatitis B, right?
A.
Hepatitis A. What's the difference?
I don't know. Two different
It didn't get as good of a score.
Oh, Becca!
So, hepatitis A outbreak in Provo and in
Salt Lake.
Spanish Fork and Salt Lake right now. That's pretty scary. So we're talking about all of the different kinds of poxes because my mom has never had hepatitis vaccination thing. And so we were thinking, well, if she gets anything, then she's gonna, if anybody gets it, she's gonna get it.
We were talking about dragon pox and cow pox.
Unicorn pox. You know what unicorn pox is? Unicorn pox is when you have one giant boil right on your forehead.
That'd be weird.
And then dragon pox is when you start getting scales in just random polka dots on your body. And look, then you can peel a dragon pox. Look, I'm gonna peel the dragon pox off, and I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons in a land of heart. Wow. Dragon tail, dragon. Alright, dragon pox. It's almost time for dragon pox. Come along, peel my skin. Let's all die with dragon pox. When?
My ears hurt.
My dad said, ouch, my ears hurt.
Whatever, you want more of it. Dragon pox, dragon pox.
Are you like Ryan?
No. Back up, back up, back up.
I wish. Ryan's talking about how this is gonna be a good trip, I can tell already.
Yeah.
Ryan's talking about how he just wishes he could find a girl that loves SpongeBob. Because I love SpongeBob and he wants to marry somebody just like me.
Yeah. But actually, it's true though. I think SpongeBob is really funny.
It's so funny. It's like we were watching it last night. It speaks truths. Like last night we watched one. We watched one last night that was April Fool's Day, and SpongeBob was so funny. He was playing harmless pranks on everybody, but it was driving Squidward crazy. And Squidward was like, you know what? I'm gonna play a prank because he's driving me insane. So he played a prank on him, and it was like a horrible prank. He like hurt him really bad physically and like beat him up and was like, ha ha, April Fool! It was basically really mean. And then afterwards he felt really bad and he said, I think I need to say sorry to SpongeBob. And then he took a really long time saying sorry to SpongeBob. But the moral of the story is, I think all of us at one point have had to learn the lesson on April Fool's Day that there's a difference between harmless pranks and really mean ones. And I swear I have memories as a kid of doing things that were like actually like punching somebody in the face or something like that and be like, April Fools! And then feeling really bad about it.
I want to tell you guys something really funny. So he was trying to say sorry and he was like a donkey. And at the end when Squidward said, I'm gonna tell SpongeBob sorry. At the end when he looked at all the things before he said that, he looked at all the things and he looked at the wall and it was made a shape of his face and his body. And then it went to the dust and it was on the window and it was all this. And then he looked at the person's butt and it was a big line in the crack and there was little bits of smoke coming off.
That's the other thing I like about SpongeBob. It's so graphic for a cartoon.
Well,
like it's so
the pictures themselves.
They make me laugh, just the pictures.
What I like about it is that I'll be watching it and then I'll see a picture and I'll be like, and it's so funny, but it's like, at the same time. That's a coal seam?
That's a seam of coal.
Right here? Yep.
Oh, that's coal?
Oh. That's a small seam.
Wow, it follows like a huge...
That was a coal line. A line of coal in the rock. Okay, so I was born in Kansas, and then once I was 3 years old, we moved to Spring Glen, and then from Spring Glen, we moved to Helper. Anyways, we're about to drive past our old house and relive some memories that we had there, and I'm really excited because I have never
come back
and seen it. And Ryan and me were really little. I was 3 and 4. It was my very first memories was in actually Spring Glen, but Spring Glen and Helper.
I have a lot of good memories from Helper.
My first memories. It's so small. It is not as big as I remember it being.
Yeah, it's very
small little mining town in Helper, Utah.
Okay.
That's where some of my very first memories are, and we're gonna go look at our old house. Are we gonna go over train tracks to get there?
Go under the tracks.
Under the tracks. I remember running away one day.
Oh, that's right.
And I went, and there was a ton of graffiti underneath train tracks.
I remember this. Oh, that stop right there is where the bus stop would go. There's a change right here. There used to be a building right there. That's where they ran off to on the bike, and that's where they got to.
Right.
Look at these little tiny, bright
They're like
colored
coal miners' houses. They really are
cute.
coal miners'
They're
houses.
row houses. Row houses. Jessica, row houses. There's underpass.
There's the underpass.
I ran away. Oh, look, a giant. Oh, wait.
Wait, look at it.
A miner. sometimes I wish I could go back in my memory and watch it like a video. You know what I mean? And like watch my memories and replay
a hotel here in town.
and look at all the details.
We were gonna buy a hotel here in town at one time, and it had a speakeasy under it. Hidden restaurant and everything under it.
Whoa!
It was from the 1920s, and it was still the same.
Whoa!
So cool.
Why didn't you buy it?
Because it had been a brothel.
Why didn't you want us little kids to live there and have a great life in a brothel? You have to drive slowly under the underpass. I wonder if there's still graffiti.
Get a better picture of Big John. Look at that, Big John.
It's only 13'6" tall.
Oh my goodness.
This was enormous. I remember stuff being thrown.
Wow, there's not graffiti. Where's my graffiti?
It's in there.
Oh,
It's in there.
there's my graffiti. I need that
Okay,
for my
we're
memory.
gonna go straight up.
This was
It's a
our
little
first
bit
house.
ugly.
It was white when we had it.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Is that your old
This was
home?
our first home
That was your first home
that we
ever?
first had. Yes, but there was an even worse one up the street that was the first one we rented.
Oh.
But we didn't.
Well,
That's not
these
the
are
one. No.
these literally are houses, just tiny yards all pushed together.
First place
Wow.
that we lived.
This house
So
is gone.
the first place that you ever Ryan, not the house
Those
that we lived
trees
in.
that are there were not there.
It was a
house
rental.
right there.
It was a
So,
rental that we
There was a
rented.
house right here, but it's all torn down because it was falling apart and it was the first house that they rented.
And it needed to be torn down. The back porch was falling off.
Back
The
when we lived
bathtub
in there.
was like almost sinking through the floor. It had mice
I hate it when
really
that happens.
bad. Every time you mopped the kitchen floor, the tiles would come up. It was bad. It was scary.
What?
That's
they're all. That's the junkyard.
Okay,
Except it's
we
not a
have.
junkyard.
What if nobody lives there?
Empty.
Okay, we're gonna go explore it.
Holy cow.
Okay, first thoughts. This is the old house we used to live in.
Oh, Becca.
The weirdest thing is, it's tiny.
It's tiny. Look how
This
small the road.
road is tiny, but it used to be so giant.
I remember going up the hill. Do you remember coming down
Oh.
the hill? The hill was like this. In our
Oh my goodness.
the hill.
No joke. Yeah, seriously.
The hill was
Dad
like
taught me how to ride my bike on this hill. And I remember this hill being like this, like vertical.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. The hill. This hill has flattened out.
Yep.
This hill used to be vertical.
It did. It was
And we would like go all the way up the mountain, it felt like.
John, that's the walnut tree we
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Dad.
Okay, this really is freaking me out because
This was huge. That was huge. That's
this
the
is actually freaking me out because it's
This
tiny.
house was all painted
taken so
pretty.
care of.
You guys ripped out something and put in pipes underneath here.
We put a pipe.
Sprinkler
This yard
system.
is so teeny.
Yeah, it is. It's the perspective, Ryan. It's like the perspective of a little kid.
We put that fence up back over there.
I need to.
I
go-
remember this like a
Hold
third
on.
bigger.
Hold on for a second.
At least a third bigger.
We planted that tree. We had the porch all painted blue, and it was gorgeous. It was.
I remember.
We fixed this house up so much, and it was so pretty.
Oh, there's so many memories here. When I was Ellie's age, we lived here.
Oh, it's totally empty.
Is it?
Yeah, it's totally stripped
Oh,
inside.
wait.
too.
Oh, I have a memory right here. It had green turf.
I remember getting stung by a bee on my thumb.
Ryan,
This was the huge window I talked about. This was the huge window that was broken.
and a cat got in our house.
And there should be a window.
Whoa.
I thought there was a big window on that side.
This room was so big when I was little.
They've just
Oh,
gutted it.
I remember, like a little teeny, you're like, hold on. But,
I know it's
it's a
cold.
Godzilla, I had a Godzilla, and we would run around that little area.
Yeah, because there was a loop in the house, so
the
you
loop.
could run around.
The loop. It's so tiny.
Wow.
This is so
I swallowed a dime in that bathroom. I swallowed a dime in that bathroom when my aunt was here, and I ran out to my mom, and my mom and my aunt started patting my back and spanking me and trying to get me to cough it out.
But do you remember how I had a bike, and I was like,
You threw
I'm
it?
so strong, and I took my bike and I threw it, and it busted a wheel because it was plastic. And then I was like, Dad, can you fix it?
And he said no,
Yeah, and he said no.
because you broke it.
This is where I learned how to ride a bike. They set me
On the top of the hill.
the top of the
They
hill
did
on
that to me too.
Jennifer's bike. And it was the kind that didn't have the brakes like this.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever gone on it. They set it on there, and this is all downhill, all the way to this house.
Yeah.
And I was going like this. Ah! And I was going like this with the back. And I didn't know about these. I was just like, ah! And I came all the way here, turned down that, and I think I cut over that lawn. And I hit into this edge, and exploded. Like that, and that's what I remember. I was just going all the way for like 3 blocks. Going fast, like.
Okay, Ryan. So I have 2 memories right here. Hold on, I have 2 memories. I was sitting right here, except I had green turf, and I was very, very small. So imagine me being a lot smaller than I am. And I remember looking down here, and I didn't have Barbies, but my mom had old boots that went on a Barbie. I had 2 brown boots and 1 white boot. I would play Barbies, and it would be the 2 evil stepsisters that were the brown boots, and I would just put them on my fingers, and the other boot was the white boot, and it was Cinderella. And so I would sit here and I would play with them and be like, oh, you're so mean. Oh, I'm Cinderella and blah, blah, blah. And I would just play with the boots on my fingers because I didn't have Barbies, I just had little boots. And then one other thing that I did, one time you left out some laundry soap. And I was sitting here on the front porch and I was playing with it in my hands, letting it sift through my hands, and then I was like, ah! I started screaming and I ran to Mom and I'm like, ah, my eyeballs are burning out. And she rinsed out my eyeballs, and I remember that on this front porch.
I know.
Okay. I got one for you. No, over here. The dungeon.
Yes, the dungeon. I still remember it.
There's a dungeon in there. The dungeon. Brian, look in there. Whoa! Did you say, what was that toy you had?
A little dinosaur.
Look in there. Did you like that? Michael, right here, I remember wanting to go swimming so bad that I took the trash can that goes to the street, and one day when it was emptied, I just filled it up with water and went swimming.
Ew. That is so gross.
Yes, and that's the one that I burnt with the lamp. I pushed over a lamp and I just let it sit with the light on, and it burned a hole in the carpet.
It's tiny, the basement.
Whoa!
Hey guys, we need to get going.
No, we don't. We're gonna stay here forever. Whoa! And this is the family room.
The family room. It's tiny. This family room is where we filmed Rookie of the Year.
Yep. In this bathroom, I slammed Steven's lip in the door somehow.
Yeah, it didn't get his nose. Somehow I did this.
It was like this in the door. I remember it was shut and I saw a little slip of pink.
Yep. And it was so interesting.
Let's go, Becca. We have to go.
No, we had to look. This is Ryan's room.
I remember we had a bed right there, and I jumped off the bed and scared Andrew so bad because I jumped onto his bed while he was on the bed, and he kind of went.
And he always used to sleep in his underwear. I remember that. And he would haul a blanket.
Scary room.
And he would haul a blanket around with him everywhere he went.
Would pop up and go with water, and dogs would be like attacked while in there in pairs.
Oh my goodness, Mom! This was your fountain that you guys built. Oh, they filled it in with dirt. The boys, Ryan and Andrew.
That's right. You wearing your cowboy boots right here.
You guys are mean. They were mean to me when I was little. They took my little white sandals and threw them to the bottom of this little pond right here that's now filled with dirt. And it was the middle of the winter. It was full of ice water. And I was like, now I have to go get it. And you guys were like, yeah, you do. And so I ran inside the house and snuck in and got into my swimsuit in the middle of winter with my cowboy boots, because that was my style back then. And I went and tried to go out. Mom said, you can't go out there dressed like that. And then she said, why are you doing that? And I said, because I have to get my sandal out of the pond. And she said, okay. As long as the boys help you. So they helped me get my sandal out of the bottom of this little pond that my mom and dad made. We had a swing set kind of by where Michael was at. And the boys made me eat a grasshopper there. I sat in an ant pile, a red ant pile right here, and it got all over my pants and hurt.
I was sitting on this, and I was with my friend, and he smelled like poop. And I was like, ew, gross. And so I walked over, like over there, and my friend followed me. And I was really like, ew, he smells like poop. And then I went over to another place, and he followed me again, and I was like, ew, he's so stinky. And he went, like this. And I lifted up my hand, and I had satin cat poop, and it was all over my hand.
Not much has changed.
And
I remember this house being cool. It wasn't a tiny house. It was all we needed. Now it's tiny and falling apart.
Right in there, that's where my dad used to...
He used to set up the tracks.
He'd set up tracks, and there were race
Of the racetrack cars.
And he had like these metal circular things, and they'd come down, and he set them all over the place. And
Wow.
we'd race it, and he had a diesel racetrack.
Oh, there's so many memories right here.
That's where I tried to cut your hair off.
I have to say, this house has so many memories and it's sad to leave, but we have to get going on our road trip. Michael's like dragging me away because I have so many memories here.
Me too.
First memories of my
And all these memories
life.
are coming back.
And I looked in the window in the back. Their office, the mom's office, was a hallway. It wasn't big.
Really?
Where the office was, across from where the freezer was, it was a hallway. And she just put her office in there.
Mom, you had a hallway office?
It was tiny.
Yeah. And
It wasn't big at all.
We had an office over there and then the living room.
Well, we gotta go.
All right. Wow. This
Actually,
is
you have to record this because Jennifer was on her rollerblades and went down this hill.
Scary. Wow.
And that,
Break her arm that time, John?
I rode my bike over here
yeah, and so Jennifer broke her arm on that trip.
to try and visit somebody who lived in one of these houses.
That right ahead of us. There's a bridge.
Nolan's there.
A bridge, and it goes up to a thing. And
Yeah.
we weren't allowed to go over there because there's drug dealers.
Whoa.
Druggies.
That's how you get up to the high school and
Wow. I remember.
It is nighttime. We've been driving all day, and back here, they're making sandwiches. There's Jessica over there. But it's on a bumpy road, and she's trying to make sandwiches on a bumpy road.
It's like trying to have a cooking show on a roller coaster. We're good with mayo. We're both fine with mayo. Don't worry about us. This one needs to go up all the way to the front, to the driver.
Becca, driver. Whoa, bumpy ride.
Well, we arrived at our first destination. We just checked into the hotel. We're getting the kids put to bed. I gotta edit a video. And we got all of our luggage here. That's it for today's vlog. The adventure continues tomorrow with the hunt for treasure, and we'll see where it takes us.
When we were kids, just hanging at the playgrounds, when all we